Welcome back to this already, the final segment of today's Price of Business, and yet we still have so much to talk about because he's here, Chris Kidd, with chriskidd.com. That's Kidd. He's a phenomenal financial coach and advisor, works a lot with people in the entertainment fields, the sports fields, as well as just individuals trying to change their lives financially, and we love his insight, and we love the guests that he's bringing. I think today is going to be no exception. I'm expecting a great interview. Chris, good to see you, my friend.
Good to be here, as always.
Talk a little bit about your coaching work, and then introduce your guests.
Well, it really stems from having a passion for families, because most families, if you look at the divorce rate, the biggest reason that always comes up is financial issues. So that was something I wanted to do something about, and I said, well, if I can fix that, I can save a lot of families. The sports area, that comes from just growing up as my dad being a coach my whole life. I've always been an athlete and played sports, and just really relate well to athletes, and it's just an area that I am really passionate about. I pretty much teach people how to handle their finances in better ways to get more out of their money, how to become entrepreneurs and have some sort of a business of their own if they don't already, and how to become much more sophisticated and proactive investors so that they don't have to just rely on what somebody tells them, but they can actually do some homework and check up on what's happening with their money.
Yeah, very good. And your guest?
My guest today is Parisnicole Payton. She's the founder and CEO, or president and CEO of the PNP agency. It's a sports, a PR and management firm for sports and entertainment professionals, and she's done a lot of nonprofit work as well, from what I understand. So, Parisnicole, good to have you on.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for this great opportunity.
We're glad to have you on. Tell us a little bit about your agency.
Well, the PNP agency started very early on in 1990, managing a lot of unsigned artists. To speed things up, in 2002, I was called to start representing NFL players, and I provided public relations, and I managed the daily lives of NFL players off the field. I was their source to handle all of their financial needs, helping them with endorsement deals, encouraging them to, continue their education, to build a better foundation within their community as well as their organization. And it just kind of grew into what I call a career ministry. I was always a sports fan, but not on the level as I had to go to every game and, my hometown is my favorite team. It was more so someone found that I had great leadership skills, and they felt that I would be a great asset in sports. So I kind of took the challenge, and the challenge turned into a full-fledged career ministry representing NFL players, and I just continue still managing entertainment professionals as well.
How was that process going from entertainment industry into the sports world, and was it something that just happened overnight, or I assume it took a little bit of work?
Absolutely not overnight. When I got into the sports world, I really was clueless of the whole business side of sports. Although sports entertainment are they're pretty much married together. However, managing athletes is totally different than managing an unsigned artist or a celebrity like a TV actor or a reality TV star. So the transition was very hard. It's a male-dominated field. I am a female. So I was up against a lot of obstacles. So the best thing that I did was just ensure that all my T's were crossed and all my I's were dotted, and that I knew how to play the game just as much as the men in the game. Again, it was not an overnight success. I would say the peak of my career in the sports industry, managing NFL players, really did not come until around 2006. So it was 4 years of trying to bang down a lot of doors, to be heard, to be taken seriously, and to just really understand what my advocacy was in representing NFL players.
You mentioned the NFL players. Are there any other sports that you are working with?
What I did was, in the beginning of my career, I was just all over the place, and I felt that I was not being as productive in giving public relations and management advice, you have to master one area first before you can try to manage any other sport. So the NFL was my calling first, so I focused on that for several years. I am now at the national level of my career that we are able to move forward to start working with baseball, hockey, soccer, and NBA as well.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
I know you're really big on networking, and how important is that, and was that in building your business?
Networking is very fundamental in building relationships. In the beginning of my career in sports, I volunteered as a Super Bowl host committee volunteer, and I did that for 10 years. And that was one way for me to, get behind the bench of the NFL and learn all of the different aspects of what the NFL does as a community, as an organization. It was also a great way to learn how the business of the NFL operates. It was another way to learn the players off the field. So with my continuing volunteer position, as well as just continuing to freelance at the time, I was doing a lot of pro bono and just building relationships. Over time, I became known as a top-tier publicist to go to from the NFL. So networking is extremely important. You have to remain consistent. If you're not, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. People forget very quickly. So if you don't remind people of who you are and what you do and what you have accomplished, it's kind of like null and void at the end of the day.
Yeah, Parisnicole Payton, she is the owner of the PNP Agency, and that's THE, like the, or the, PNP, Peter knows Peter, PNP Agency, the PNP Agency. .com. Make sure you check her out. Final thoughts, Chris Kidd.
Well, I'd like to know, have you become more fanatical about sports now since you've been involved in the industry for a while?
Yes. I attend games every year. I attend about maybe 17 to 20 games per season. I prefer to be at the games. I became a fan, definitely. I love the NFL. I'm a big fan. I'm not a particular fan of any team, but if you ask me who would I cheer for the most, I would say the New York Giants. But I prefer to attend the games and not watch it on TV. It's definitely better live. It's more fan interaction. So in time, I did become a great fan of the sport.
Thanks to both of you for a great segment. I hope to hear from you again in the future. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me, and everyone have a great day.
Yeah, you too, Chris Kidd. Great job as usual. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. When
we come back tomorrow, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here, including this interview, can be found over there at usdailyreview.com. I'm Kevin Price. You've been listening to The Price of Business.